Vihvalalocanam Kanchi Kalapa Vilasad Dukola Channarodasam Tam Kanacharanam Bojam Mada Vihvalalocanam Kanchi Kalapa Vilasa Dukola Channarodasam Tam Kvanacharnambujam Mada Vihvalalocanam Kanchi Kalapa Vilasa Dukula Channarodasam. Word to word. Tam, that body. Kvanat, tinkling with ankle bells. Charanambojam, with lotus feet. Mada, intoxication. Vihvala, overwhelmed. Lochanam, with eyes. Kanchi Kalapa, with a girdle made of golden ornaments. Vilasat, shining. Dukula, by fine cloth. Channa, covered. Rodasam, having hips. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. The body given up by Brahma took the form of evening twilight. When the day and night meet, a time which kindles passion, the asuras, who are passionate by nature, dominated as they are by the element of rajas, took it for a damsel whose lotus feet resounded with tinkling of anklets, whose eyes were wide with intoxication, and whose hips were covered by fine cloth over which shone a girdle. Please repeat. The body given up by Brahma took the form of evening twilight. When the day and night meet, a time which kindles passion, the asuras, who are passionate by nature, dominated as they are by the element of rajas, took it for a damsel whose lotus feet resounded with the tinkling of anklets, whose eyes were wide with intoxication, and whose hips were covered by fine cloth over which shone a girdle. Purport by Prabhupada. As early morning is the period for spiritual cultivation, beginning of evening is the period for passion. Demoniac men are generally very fond of sex enjoyment. Therefore, they very much appreciate the approach of evening. The demons took the approach of the evening twilight to be a beautiful woman. They began to adore her in various ways. They imagined the twilight to be a very beautiful woman with tinkling bangles on her feet, a girdle on her hips, and beautiful breasts, and for their sexual satisfaction, they imagined the appearance of this beautiful girl before them. We'll try to understand. Om Jnanatimrandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Natkrupatam Vande Sri Gurum Devatara Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Iswaram Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Vajitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Shri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai. Thank you all for joining. So today is a very, very auspicious day of Srila Gopala Bhatta Goswami's appearance day and Sri Ramachandra Kaviraj's disappearance day. And verse here, we'll understand the context, what's going on, and then we'll try to see from different angles of vision. Then we'll try to see how much time we have. Gopala Bhatta Goswami's pastimes and instructions. So here the conversation, this chapter, Saunaka and other rishis are assembled in Naimisharanya and asking Suta Goswami what was being discussed, such an elevated personality of Vidura, Mahatma Vidura, and what was being discussed with Maitreya. Please explain those conversations. So, and then we see that Vidura Maharaj is asking questions about creation further from Lord Brahma. So that's where it starts. Since you know the matters inconceivable to us, tell me, O holy sage, what did Brahma do to create living beings after evolving the Prajapatis, the progenitors of living beings? Vidura inquired, how did the Prajapatis, such progenitors of living entities, Marichi, Swayambhu, Manu, created according to the instructions of Brahma? Or how did they evolve this manifested universe? That was the question. So, a few verses before the context right now is Lord Brahma approaching the Lord addressed him thus, my Lord, please protect me from these sinful demons who were created by me under your order. They are infuriated by appetite for sex and have come to attack me. My Lord, you are the only one capable of ending the affliction of the distressed and inflicting agony on those who never resort to your lotus feet. The Lord, who can distinctly see the minds of others, perceived Brahma's distress and said to him, cast off this impure body of yours. Thus, commanded by the Lord, Brahma cast off his body. So that's where we are in right now. So Lord Brahma has a great responsibility to create living entities, and depending on what they have come with baggage from the past life. As in chapter 15, we see that Srotram Chakshus Parasanam Cha Rasanam Granam Adhisthaya Manaschayam Vishayan Upasevate Utkramantam Stitam Va Bunjanam Va Gunanvitam Vimuda Nanu Pasyanti Gnana Chakshusa. Basically, so we are getting into certain families based on and subtle bodies carrying with the what kind of activities we have performed, pious and impious. Accordingly, we are getting certain type of ear, certain type of eyes, certain type of nose. It's the same nose and eyes and all these Jnanendriyas everybody has, but there is underlying pious and impious is there. So that's where certain people are attached to certain things, religious and irreligious things, when they are born itself. Because they are bringing this baggage. In each of these Jnanendriyas, already the subtle aspects are there within the mind. The subtle body is carrying and giving this body in this life. And then they are enjoying or suffering. They are enjoying. They are thinking that they are enjoying, but they are not realizing. Satsangya chadi asate vilas telagi karine karma bandha fans. Discussed many times. By giving up the reality, Sat Chid Ananda, and rather they are going after this Asat, Achit, Nirananda, which is not eternal, which is a material aspects of knowledge, and then Nirananda, which is material sense, flickering pleasure. And Prabhupada gives beautiful example that just like we have this, we are wearing shirt, we are wearing the pant. It has the hands, legs, but they are not real. They are not real. Why do they have the shirt and pant has these hands and legs? Because the gross body has hands and legs. That's why you have the shirt and pant has this. Same way, this gross body is not real. Because the spiritual body has the hands and legs, spiritual body has. That's why the gross body also has. That doesn't mean it is a real. It is permanent. It is temporary. So don't be absorbed, this material absorption, this attachment. Prabhupada talks about it. Two aspects are happening, which is Virodha Yukta Priti, which is unrestricted attachment. That's what. We can go on, as Lord Brahma is discussing here about the sex life and whatnot, the beauty of it. There's no point going there, because Prabhupada discussed in Canto 6, the illicit sex aspects, almost 6 or 10 things described in detail. Rather, we should understand what the essence, underlying effects, what's happening, and how we can move to the transcendental aspects. That's what we have to understand. And we'll see the examples of various even exalted personalities such as demigods. What has happened in their case? Who are we? And how that's why Prabhupada again and again, sadhu savadhan. We must be bandhu mohi savadhane mate. We sing in Guru Ashtika prayers. We must be very much cautious and extremely careful in the path we choose, in what path we want to choose, whom we want to associate from, and what kind of service we want to pick up, what kind of job. We have to be very cautious. Privilege is given, but what we take, what we do matters, because we are transforming what kind of life we are going to get. Otherwise, same material ears, material eye, this Gyanendriyas are going to draw us into the material aspects only. So that's what Prabhupada is saying. We are getting this, these hands and legs, accepting this material body and engaging in this material activities, even though they are not real, by taking this. So that's why it's very important to understand these aspects, to go deeply. Avirodha, Virodha Yukta Priti, unrestricted, unregulated attachment. So when there must be regulation, there must be regulation. Yukta Ahara Viharasya, Yukta Chetasya Karmasu, Yukta Sapna Avabodasya Dukkaha. So one must regulate their sleeping, recreation, eating. So all these activities must be regulated, human beings specifically. If there is no regulation, then there is a too much unrestricted, then what will it lead on to? Virodha Yukta, Avirodha Yukta Priti leads on to Virodha Yukta Krodha. Because of its unrestricted attachment, unregulated, yes, sex life is only for procreation, but we don't understand the subtle aspects of it. Once we start it, then there is no end to it. The illusory pleasures will go on, and then that ripple effects, it takes years. That's what Prabhupada said. When somebody, I think the best thing is to enter into family. No, Prabhupada said no. Being a brahmachari is the ideal way, because you have 75% chance to go back to Godhead. If you are being grahastha, then it's all right, because that's what you desire. Then rather than being in the artificial partner, you get married because you already have the desires. Then that is the ideal way to go. Then, but you have only 50% chance, because more and more implication is there. Nidraya hiyate naktam vyavayena cha vavaya. This is the first and foremost instruction Parikshit Maharaj is getting from Sukadeva Goswami. Before he telling what to do, but first he is telling what not to do, because we have to understand what not to do also, aspects. So that's why this regulative principle, unrestricted attachment in anything is not good, especially in material aspects. So that will lead on to this anger, frustration, fear, because of this unrestricted attachment, unrestricted sense enjoyment. So the most of the people engaging in sleeping, most of them vyavaya, that is sex life. So that's where the illusory pleasures are there. And then we see in the history of demigods, moon god, Brahaspati, these are not ordinary people, exalted personalities, but they themselves also in the had to engage, because after conquering three worlds, the upper, middle, lower planet is Soma, the moon god performed a great sacrifice known as Rajasuyagna, because he was very much puffed up. He forcibly kidnapped Brahaspati's wife, whose name was Tara. And then it went to such an extent that he had taken demigod, the demons. Demons helped him, and then he fought with demigods. Even though he was himself is demigod, he didn't want it. He didn't listen to anybody. He didn't listen to anybody. So Lord Brahma had to intervene in the situation. Then that's when he let it go. But the already activity is done. Obviously, because they are higher conscious, despite his activities done, great personality was born. That's a different story, but we can understand how this false pride, puffed up position of this, this is great enjoyment I'm getting. Why somebody wants me to take away from this? So what is wrong with it? Sometimes this scientists and others come to Prabhupada and what is wrong with dog body? So there is no problem. Prabhupada is to give blessings also. Yes, you become a dog. What can be done? So you didn't understand the value of human life. So that's what, even in the case of Brahaspati himself, Brahaspati was a spiritual master of demigods. Even himself also, when the demigod named Brahaspati was attracted by his brother's wife, Mamata, who at that time was pregnant, he desired to have sexual relation with her. The son within her womb forbade this, but Brahaspati cursed him and forcibly discharged him into the womb of Mamata. So these are the consequences are severe. So we have to understand this, the goal of material life. And that's why Parikshit Sukadeva Goswami is explaining on this aspect a little more detail. And King Parikshit asked Sukadeva Goswami about the direct meaning of this material world. Then Sukadeva Goswami replied, "My dear king, a man belonging to mercantile community is always interested in earning money. Sometimes he enters the forest to acquire some cheap commodities like wood and earth and sell them in the city at good prices. Similarly, the conditioned soul, being greedy, enters the material world for some material profit. Gradually enters the deepest forest part of the forest, not really knowing how to get out. Having entered the material world, the pure soul becomes conditioned by the material atmosphere, which is created by the external energy under the control of Lord Vishnu. Thus, the living entity comes under the control of the external energy, Daivi Maya. Living independently and bewildered in the forest, he does not attain the association of devotees who are always engaged in the service of the Lord. Once in the bodily conception, he gets different types of bodies, one after another, under the influence of material energy and impelled by the modes of nature. And we see in this verse passion. Demons took it, the twilight position, because they are impelled by that modes of passion. So that's why we have to associate with those who are attending Mangala, those who are chanting every day, regularly, consistently. Consistency is very much required. Intensity is very much required. That is the only way you can come to this goodness and come to the above goodness. Otherwise, there is no possibility. If there is no consistency and there is no proper association, then you can't get that quality. So in this way, the conditioned soul goes sometimes to the heavenly planets, sometimes to the earthly planets, sometimes to the lower planets and lower. Thus, he suffers continuously due to different types of bodies. These sufferings and pains are sometimes mixed, sometimes they are very severe, sometimes they are not. These bodily conditions are acquired due to the conditioned soul's mental speculation. Uses his mind and five senses to acquire knowledge. These bring about the different bodies and different conditions. Using the senses under the control of the external energy, Maya, the living entity, suffers the miserable condition of the material existence. He is actually searching for relief, but he is generally baffled. Mogasa, moga karmano, moga gnana vichetasa. There is not every activity is baffled. Although sometimes he is relieved after great difficulty, struggle for existence in this way, he cannot get shelter of pure devotees who are like bumblebees engaged in the loving service at the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Prabhupada comments, most important is Hari Guru Charana Aravinda Madhukara Anupadavi. So one must take the shelter of Hari Guru, lotus feet of Hari and Guru, constantly remembering and taking the instructions and engaging in that activities. Otherwise, it will be as Devahuti says, Nirvinna Netaram Bhuman Asat Indriya Tarshanat. Constantly, this Asat Indriya Tarshanat only will going on. In talkings, dealings, and activities, that's what we're constantly after. We don't like to do. What is this waking up early in the morning? Let me sleep. I will wake up in the weekend. So let me sleep more. This will go on. We'll never want to. But we have to understand this human life is very rare, so we should utilize it. You can sleep after finishing chanting, but one must try to chant at least early in the morning. Anyway, so the subtle effects on here, Asat Indriya Tarshanat, how will we get out? Let's understand day-to-day example. We see that when we have a problem with this gross body, let's take an example of a car. We have the gross body and the subtle body, like this body is called a field of activity. Same way, we are entering into the car, we are using this gross body, soul is sitting, gross body of car. Car depends on the engine and the four tires. When the tire goes off, puncture, then what will you do? So immediately you have to call me. You yourself cannot fix it. You need somebody's guidance. So especially when it is punctured. If you have a spare tire, you may put it, but sometimes some of the cars doesn't even have a spare tire. You can You have to fill the air or you have to do something, and then if there's too many punctures, where it is, you don't know. You have to take to the mechanic who knows how to identify this. The first identification of these Jnanendriya subtle aspects, unless you hear, then where is the question of understanding what subtle aspects, where I am being attached to, what activities I am leading to, my body, my gross senses are leading into in my life. Why I am not able to wake up? We have to question ourselves. That means these Jnanendriyas are telling to do something else, not the awakening this conditioned soul. We are not being in the fire of Krishna consciousness. Constantly we are engrossed in the material activities. Then we can't wake up. Despite trying, you can't wake up. So that's why the intensity must be there in the service, in the worship of the deity, in the chanting of the holy name. So when you take to the mechanic, what you will do? In the car, generally there is a 21-point inspection. That means there should be somebody should be inspecting the body and he will give list of things. So in that, some things must be done at any cost. Otherwise, you will be in problem. So immediate things has to be fixed out of 10 or 20 or whatever list of things. Same way in the devotion service in the current conditioned life, we may not be able to do everything. There are 64 items nectar devotion talks about. Are we able to do? No. So that's why we have to pick up at least the Sravanam and Kirtanam has to happen regularly every day without a miss. Without a miss. You just can't miss a class. Always class should be going on. Why not to take advantage? Because through hearing only, this Jnanendriya is getting from Virodha Yukta Priti to Avirodha Yukta Krodha. So, but if you transfer that to hearing, then you engage that. And the more you hear, then you know what not to be done. So then only you will give up these subtle aspects of a sense enjoyment. Even the small things are the very hard struggle. Because the past activity maybe a few years ago we might have done, but that lingers for quite some time. Because unless you hear more and more again and again repeatedly, then only these Jnanendriyas gets purified. Then the mind and intelligence get sharpened. Otherwise, there is no question of sharpening. So that's when you go to doctor also, you may say cholesterol, triglycerides, whatnot. Many things may pop up, but out of that you have to watch out this. Otherwise, it's going to be a great catastrophe. Then you watch out one or two things. That is this Avanam and Kirtanam. Not a single day should pass by without proper chanting in the morning. We have to pay attention to the chanting, and the proper attention to the hearing while chanting, and also these classes. This platform was created by not us, by Srila Prabhupada has created this platform of Mangalarati. Whether you do it at home or at temple, this chanting of the holy name, and then before chanting there should be 6 Ashtakam prayers, or you read Bhagavad Gita, or you read Samsara Dava is there. You can do it at home. But provided we do, because the consciousness has to be first absorbed before you pick up the beats and chant. Otherwise, mind will go 10 different directions. So that's why these processes Prabhupada has said clearly, because he knows exactly how our mind wanders here and there. So that's why these principles, by exactly to the degree we follow Prabhupada's process systematically, to the degree we will be get away from this Jnanendriyas being attached to the subtle aspects. Then somebody is going to inspect. More you associate, more you hear, then you know exactly, oh, this is the problem I have, condition I have. So then how I can fix it? At least 1, 2, 3, 4, right? I should fix immediately. I have to fix. Otherwise, great danger is coming. I won't be able to chant properly. Time is short. When I am going to leave this body, I don't know. So that's why this is a very important thing to understand from this principle of this irreligious activity, as Lord Brahma also had to give up this. But he had taken association of Lord directly. He's praying to the Lord that relieve me from this. These demons are attacking me. So we have to understand these demons of the subtle aspects, subtle Jnanendriyas are attacking us day after day. So we have to pray by chanting the Nadanam Najanam Na Sundarim Kavitam Va Jagadish Kamai Mama Janman Janman Isure Bhavatad Bhakti Rohituki. So that's why Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kripaya Tavapada Pankastuli Sadhasam Vichant. We have to be that way. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is telling, I want to become a servant of Sham Sundar, Radha Sham Sundar. Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram, Yashodanandam, not Devakinanda, Yashodanandam. Specifically, Kinkaram means menial servant. We should become menial servant. So unless we properly chant, unless we properly hear, where is the question of menial servant? Constantly this false pride keep coming while doing service also. So that's why proper attention to chanting and hearing must go on. Then our proper service will be done. Otherwise, service will not be done with proper attention to the details. Now let's read from Gopala Bhatta Goswami how menially served Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at his home. It is mentioned how he served so great, so much attached to the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is mentioned. Mahaprabhu Gaurachandra pacified. Hold on. Gopal was a beautiful young man whose complexion was as bright as golden champuka flower. His lotus face had large eyes and eyebrows, and his nose and forehead bore the bright chalaka of the Vaishnavas. How beautiful were his ears and neck! How beautiful were his hands, chest, thin waist! How beautiful were his frank knees and reddish feet! He wore bright clothes and was decorated with many ornaments. Everyone was fascinated by his ever-increasing beauty and manliness. Having received Mahaprabhu's life and soul, Gopal engaged himself most gladly in the Lord's service. I worship Sri Gopala Bhatta Prabhu, who was the best of all Brahmanas, was constantly engaged with utmost sincerity in the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I am unable to describe how Gaurari favored Sri Gopala Bhatta. Nevertheless, I shall attempt to describe the character of Gopal, who was always engaged in the service of Sri Mahaprabhu. Not satisfied to see Mahaprabhu as an ascetic, he lamented privately, addressed Providence with choked, "Oh Providence, why was I born in this faraway place? Why have you forced me to see Mahaprabhu in the dress of an ascetic, deprived me from observing his pastimes in Nadia? How cruel you are to allow him the life of renunciate, when I long to see him as a Rajendra Nandan, Lord of Sri Radhika." Lamenting in this way, he wept like a madman, breathed heavy sigh as hot as fire. Forgiving Providence, Gopal then lamented that ill fortune was his own fault. Having spent himself in lamentation, Gopal remained reticent. Yet Gaurahari could understand the state of Gopal's mind. When Gopal fell asleep, the Lord of Navadvip appeared to him in a dream. Lord Gaurasundar was strolling through the streets of Navadvip, and Gopal was there with him. Nityananda and Advaita took him lovingly in his arms. But when they were about to tell him something, he woke up from his sleep. Gopal looked around in bewilderment and then went to him impatiently to find Sri Gaurachandra Mahaprabhu. Was delighted and revealed himself in the form of a cowherd boy with a blue complexion. The divine beauty remained, but in few moments, blue complexion turned golden. The glow of Gaurasundar's beauty enchanted the universe. How beautiful was that hair that curled across his shoulders. His forehead was decorated with Vaishnava tilak. His eyebrows were dramatically raised, and his magnificent glance stole the hearts of all the ladies. His beautiful face defeated the pride of autumn moon, and his smile showed nectar. His beautiful dhoti was wrapped with three folds and decorated with various ornaments. His gestures and postures were fascinating. The garland of malati flowers hanging around Nimai's neck enchanted Gopal. He fell at the feet of Mahaprabhu and again looked at his face and with expectation, but the Lord had reassured his ascetic form. Mahaprabhu Gaurachandra pacified Gopal and gave him direct instructions. He ordered him to go to Vrindavan as soon as possible, for there he would meet two valuable jewels, namely Rupa and Sanatan. Tell them about my desire, said Mahaprabhu. In Vrindavan, you will get many disciples from all over the world. Having instructed Gopal, Mahaprabhu took him in his lap and soaked his body with tears from his own eyes. Mahaprabhu advised Gopal to keep the instructions confidential, not discuss them with anyone. Gopal was very happy with that. So much more longer, already 701. So we can understand how much we must become detail oriented. Obviously, in this case, directly serving Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But in our case, we have Srila Prabhupada and his disciples and devotees. So we should try to serve to our best of abilities with very much detail oriented and very, very sincerely begging. As Gopal Bhatta Goswami is crying and begging. So that should be our mood. Then we will not be attached to this Virodha Yukta Priti. So we'll be able to get shackles removed from all these Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna Gandhara, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktam ki jai.
Okay, thank you very much, Krishna Babu. I'd like to wish everybody a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead. And we like to offer our praise to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram, Ram Ram,
Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram, Hare
Hare Ram,
Ram,
Ram
Ram
Ram,
Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna, Hare
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 Ram,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Shri Nrsimha, Jai Nrsimha, Jai Jai Nrsimha, Praladesha, Jai Padmamukha Padmalingam, Ugraveera Mahavishnu, Sarvatomukham Lakshmanam Vishnu, Bhadram Mrityum Mrityum Namamiham. Nrsimha Bhagwan ki Jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki Jai. Let's offer our humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarvishya
Vanchakalpatarubhasya bhavet, Patitana
Pavanabhaya Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
की जय।
गोविंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय।
Jai,
गौर प्रेमानंदे।
Hari 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 Bo.
Thank you, Krishna Namananada Pr. Thank you,
Thank you everybody. Hari Bo, Hare Krishna.